Welcome back to Switch to Linux and another edition of the DistroWars. This is a series where we take two Linux distributions that have something similar in common and compare and contrast them. The ultimate purpose of this is just kind of give you some options, showing you a few distros side by side. And we're coming back once again to Arch installers, and there's just a lot of requests to look at the Arch installers. And somebody left this one on the Discord server, so if you're not already on the Discord server and you would like to, jump on over onto Discord server. I'll remember to put a link in the description down below. And today we're going to look at Archlabs, which generally has been my favorite one of the Arch installers. Now, there is no perfect Arch installer. We do have Manjaro Architect, which gets you Manjaro, which is a little bit further removed from Arch than some people would prefer. That one overall is very good, albeit a little complicated to set up. We looked at ArcoLinux, which had a lot of really good things going for it. You finally got a good system, but there's that one little command that if they put that one thing in the end of the script, it would be perfect. You have to go in and enable whatever your login window manager is, which is like weird because it's perfect except for that. And then you get to the Archlabs, which overall is one of the better ones, but it gets you something that does not necessarily connect the software repos to things like Discovery if you're installing Plasma. And I actually found another bug in Archlabs today as well as I was preparing for this video. Now, I do run Archlabs, and I do run Archlabs Cinnamon, so I don't know what the problem is. Why did my test install do it multiple times today, and why did my live installation not? I had problems accessing the themes files, and I was able to get that fixed. Now, prior to recording this button, I basically took a vote among the people here viewing this live, and we did decide we are not going to walk through the installation process. So let me just go ahead and explain that. Now, for the Archlabs installer, I have walked through it on a previous edition of the DistroWars, so I will go ahead and link that video down below and put it also in a card, so you can follow along on that if you want to see how you install Archlabs on the distro. As far as EndeavourOS, it is simply boot into the live key, hit the install button, and it's Calamaris, except you get to choose your desktop environment. Cool. Very nice. And so EndeavourOS is pretty much not any different on the installation as anything else. And it came out with, we'll leave it at that for now. So let's go ahead and have a quick look at their websites first. Of course, Archlabs, this is a Arch installer. Now, this is perilously close to pure Arch. In fact, I can't even really think if there is a major difference. So you're getting more of a true Arch install. Now, they have not updated the images for a while. I think the latest image is still from September or November or something from last year. So if you head on over to get it. So it's October. So what did I say? September, November? No, it's October. It's like when I used to live out west. People call every name except the state I was in. It's kind of funny. So you can download it, and that's the one that I have. So it is a little bit older. Now, EndeavourOS, a brand new version of this, is just out as of this week. And so I've actually just downloaded this one today. They say it's a terminal-centric distro with dynamic and friendly community at its core. However, I found it to be not necessarily terminal-centric. So if that scares the bejeebers out of you, this thing has more tools built in. Now, it's not quite as pure of an Arch as Archlabs because it does have a lot of extra things built into it that some people may not like if you want this pure Arch experience. But what's the difference here? Well, some people run Arch because they want to show how cool they are with their computers. Some people run Arch because they legitimately need a rolling edge circumstance, a rolling edge computer. I can appreciate that. That's not me personally in my production, although I do run Arch on my media PC because it gives me the ability to have a look at the packages that are coming on down the pipeline and get a little bit of experience with them before they land on my production. It's almost like the way I'm rolling my entire workflow into Linux on everywhere else. All of my writing and authoring stuff, everything relating to my publishing company is already 100% on Linux. Web design, I'm still doing a lot of things back on Windows just because the computer hasn't died yet. However, I do have a Linux computer standing in place, ready to go. I use Arch systems in that same manner that I'm using the Arch system to always have the latest packages on that, which is a non-mission critical PC. Mostly it's just there for entertainment purposes or learning purposes. And then on my production systems, I hold packages back. I run more Debian-based things, so I'm getting security, but not feature updates. And so some people need to run Arch. That was a long answer to say why people want to run Arch. Some people want to run Arch without having the time or the burden to get it going. And so EndeavourOS raises yet another example of an easy way to get Arch installed, to have something very close to pure Arch on your system without a lot of other issues and challenges coming along. And so I went over here, just head on down to the latest release. We have our installation process down here. And we do have how to create and install it. You can have installation on a virtual machine. Now, one of the things you'll notice on EndeavourOS is they have a ton more resources. Head on over to Archlabs. It's kind of like you're kind of on your own. You head on over to the docs, and they don't even really have how to install over here. Which is kind of funny because installing Endeavour is infinitely easier to somebody could, I could probably hand somebody a USB stick and say, install this, and, you know, they could probably get it installed. Archlabs is going to be a little bit more difficult, but Endeavour has a much better, series of documentation and things like that around it. So let's go ahead and have a look at what these guys look like, shall we? Now, as I said, we're not going to go through the installation process on these. Endeavour is just like any other Linux distribution, and our Archlabs is a little bit more complicated, but I do have other videos which has covered that in the past. So I'll go ahead and link one of those in the comments or in the, I'll put one in the description, and I'll put one in the card as well. So let's go ahead and have a look at what we have with Archlabs. Now, Archlabs on the installation, we do have a couple little issues. Since it is such pure Arch, it is a little bit more ugly out of the box because I went with Cinnamon. Now, Cinnamon, I absolutely love it. It's my favorite desktop environment, but if you're using it on anything other than Linux Mint or Manjaro, it is about as ugly as a desktop as you can possibly get out of the box. It is just like, oh, but it does work. Now, when we land on our desktop here, we are going to have the latest and greatest of everything. Now, I did install this with an LTS kernel because I have had issues of installing Archlabs with the rolling kernel in the past. So kind of like chaining that elephant to a little stake on the ground. It could pull it out, but doesn't want to. I'm kind of the same boat here. When we get this, now I installed these. The Archlabs system allows me to configure everything out of the box. I can go in on the installation. I can set up all of the services. I can set up all of the software. I can do whatever I want to do. EndeavourOS does not give me that option. You choose your desktop environment. That would be it. Outside of that, you get what you get. So we are basically getting the most minimal system here on top of Archlabs. So under our accessories, here we have Nemo, we have software token, and we have Vim, we have a virtual keyboard. We have eLinks, there you go. We have a FTP client. We have Pulse Audio Volume Control, Qt Test utility, a Qt Video Capture utility. We have HTOP, a couple terminals in here, and our control panel. Now, I actually had an issue once I installed this where I was not actually able to access our themes. The problem with that, if you are installing Archlabs and Cinnamon and you're having that issue, the problem is .cache cs_themes is not set up on the system. So it would keep on failing that. I was not able to find any documentation about that when I actually went, though, to run in the terminal the command needed to run your system settings, which I believe is Cinnamon system settings space themes, I think is what it is. It would give me some errors and be like, hey, .cache cs_themes file is not there. Oh, let's just go ahead and manually create them. That solved my problem. So I thought it was a permission thing, and it wasn't. It was just I had to create this file. So we were able to get that fixed. As far as theming options, we have no other window border choices by default. We do have a few icons. We have just a few of these, although these guys are kind of missing on our theme previews. We have a couple of cursors as well. We have exactly one of these. Of course, it is Cinnamon, so I can come over here, add and remove these guys. So let's just go ahead and do this. So at least in Cinnamon, we have the ability to easily add our themes inside of that. Everything else in here, though, is going to be a very simple, very clean, nothing else in here. There's no way to install software other than using the terminal and doing Pacman, which for most people running Arch, that's exactly what they want. But if you are wanting some software utility, you're going to have a little bit harder time getting something going. Unless, of course, it is Archlabs. You can set up a software installer on when you are setting the system up. However, when I've done that in the past, it does not actually connect your repositories to it, so you're going to have to manually do that before you use it. So overall, though, it is a pure Arch system. I did have to install VirtualBox guest editions. It did attempt to install them on the installation, but it did fail, and I'm not sure why. After I was actually done with the installation process, then we went ahead and got that installed again, and everything worked. So out of the box, we have a very clean, very lean system here. I did see HTOP in here, so let's go ahead and have a brief look at what this looks like. So we're running on 512 megabytes. Holy crap, that's not a lot. Let's have a look at what desktop wallpapers we have to choose from. Oh, we got a couple of these guys here. Very nice. Couple cool little guys there. Just kind of some basic default wallpapers. Nothing too fancy schmancy. Just a few options there. Let's have a look at Ice Twigs. Ooh, that's nice. Let's go ahead and stick with that one. All right. So there is what we have. It's a system. It'll work. It's probably not going to be quite as good. You know what I didn't test out? Does it actually find my network shares? There's a good thing to find out. So it does appear as though it does not do this. Now, in their defense, the reason is you have to go in and configure all of the different services and options and software that you want. You do have the options to do that. I just went with a minimal install. In other words, Archlabs, if you want the purest experience, Archlabs is going to be way closer to that. So there's my thought on Archlabs. Let's go ahead and jump on over and look at EndeavourOS next. Okay, so here we are on Endeavour. Now it did have its own very well customized login window, which was very nice. In fact, let me just go ahead and show you what that looks like. I can't remember if you guys saw what the other one looks like, but very clean, very nice, and you can choose Cinnamon software rendering. So definitely a lot more cleaner and nicer looking than the default one that we get inside of Archlabs. So we do have a little bit more of a customized view here. Now I did manipulate the theming a little bit. All of the theming available here was available without installing anything else. Now, when you first get in here, you get a welcome screen here. So we have some general information. We have after installation. So this is a very nice tool that you will find. In fact, you can find it in the menu under welcome. So if you do want to rerun this guy, you can never show it to you again, or you can see you later. So of course, the see you later means it's going to pop up again next time you reboot. Don't show me anymore. Basically, doesn't let it run. So inside of here are a lot of really fun things that you might want to do on your Arch system, making EndeavourOS probably the better bet for you if you want something very close to a pure Arch system without having to fight with a lot of other things to get it done. Come on over here. You can click on your update mirrors. It's going to give you this option here. Just choose which mirrors you want. Hey, very nice. And then you can go ahead and make all the settings. We have an update system there. It's just going to detect if there's more updates. Of course, I just installed this afternoon. We do have to enter our password. Really, guys? Really, Arch? There's already an update from like 2 hours ago. Really, Arch? But anyway, it's done. You can update the system there. You can detect any system issues. You can upgrade the Endeavour to the latest version. You can change your display manager. So I'm on Light DM now. You can choose between whichever display manager you would like. We have the wallpapers over here. This one here just basically goes back to this default wallpaper. I'm not sure what else. There's use the vanilla XFCE theme. I'm not sure what that button's going to do because I'm running Cinnamon. Very interesting. We have package management. We have AUR. Now, a lot of these guys over here are actually going to boot up a web page going right onto their instructions for adding other package managers and things like that. So a lot of things built into the system to help you learn a little bit more. We have the ability to install some popular apps, Chromium, a firewall, LibreOffice. There's some Bluetooth there. And we also have inside of EndeavourOS, we do have a software manager. It's not the easiest to use, but it's definitely better than nothing like we had in Archlabs. So let's go ahead and just do a search for example, Evolution. And you can see here, this is our Evolution mail list. We don't have nice, pretty icons and stuff, but that's actually okay. All right, we have GNOME Desktop, KDE, XFCE, other desktops, multimedia, programming. So there's a lot of different items in here. So you can actually go in here and install software right from out of the box here. Our theming did work on this, so that was good. Like I said, we don't have nearly as many theming options as we have in Linux Mint, for example, but we did have enough to get a very nice system out of the box, making this one of the better looking Cinnamon builds on installation. So these were not all of the defaults that it booted into, but I was able to go here very quickly. I presume that other desktop environments will be similar to that. All right, let's go ahead and see if HTOP is installed in this guy, and it is, since we looked at that on the other distribution. This one's running about 200 megabytes more, so I mean, this guy must be bloated. Again, we did not have the option to install all of the different software packages. So let's see what they give us by default. We do have an archive manager. We have text editor, virtual keyboard. We have an image viewer. We do have Firefox. There's our welcome screen, our icon browser, celluloid MPV. So it looks like we are getting more codec-y type stuff, like more ability to manage your multimedia out of the box. So if you don't really want any of those, hey, that's kind of problematic. If you do want those and you just want a good working system out of the box, Endeavour might be better. So which one of these is easier to install? Absolutely, EndeavourOS, way easier to install. Which one gives us more options? Well, Archlabs, because we had the ability to do that. This one here, let's see if the network works. Network works just fine. I did not have to do anything special for this. So again, if you need a purely customized system, you know exactly what you're looking for, Archlabs is still going to be a better choice for you. You are going to have to fight with a lot more little things, but some people want that. If you need a very quick, simple solution, I got to get up and running in about 25 minutes and I need to be on Arch, absolutely, Endeavour is your go-to system. Out of the box, works very nice. The theming is very attractive, which is very hard to find in Cinnamon distributions outside of Linux Mint and Manjaro, and you know, a few other odds and ends as well. But we did have a few applications people may not want, but really it's not. There's not a lot of bloat in here. There's not a lot of issues, not a lot of problems. The installation was a breeze, as I said. No other real options, but we do have software managers. We do have the nice welcome screen tool. We do have networking, things like that are working out of the box. So overall, very good system. So which one do I say is a win on this? Well, I'm actually going to say for the most part, EndeavourOS is probably going to take home the win, with Archlabs taking the win if you need more advanced customization or you need a very specialized system set up. So that's kind of my take. Hopefully this this DistroWars helped you to see a couple more Arch installers and things like that. Like I said, for the installation for the Archlabs, I'll go ahead and link another video in the description here and on the cards here on YouTube, where you can see the installation process itself. And but EndeavourOS is just like any other Linux live key. Boot it up, it boots into a live environment, click the installer. The only option is you got a chance to click which desktop environment or environments you wanted to install. So with that, let me know your thoughts on either of these two distributions. Which one is your favorite? Subscribe if you've not already done so. Go ahead and leave me some likes or some comments down there, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.